Hey, all of our beautiful people, our listeners, our watchers. We appreciate you, and just here's to another episode of Mindset Talks podcast, where by now in this stage of the game, it is also Mindset Talks Tuesday, so I'm glad that you guys tuned in. Today is a special one. It is August 30th, and it is also actually National Grief Awareness Day. So to bring grief awareness to people, right? It's not something that people talk about. It's not really seen or portrayed in a lot of different places. It's really kind of hard to find information about it because it's things that the people don't talk about. Grief is something that is traditionally that you really process internally with yourself. And you might be able to process it with some other family members or friends or, acquaintances of the person that you guys have lost that's in common. But really, after the, funeral or the actual, event happens and people are notified, you probably don't really talk about it much after that. There's no support groups for the person that you lost. There's no, necessarily even really talking about it after the fact, because once you said your piece and you say your prayers and your condolences and things like that, I feel like people are just kind of all right, well, life keeps moving, so I'm just gonna keep chugging along here and I'm not gonna bring it up because I don't want to upset anybody and things like that. So we really have to try to put it out there and just bring more awareness on this subject, because I know for me, I really needed to kind of lean on something to really process what I was feeling, because I was so young and it's not really something that I personally have felt before. It's not a loss that I had ever truly experienced, and we need help through that. It's not things that people talk about, like I've been saying, and so it's just kind of what do? You feel lost in this world where your life has stood still and everything is just going on around you, and you're just supposed to sit here and smile and act like the biggest devastation did not just happen to you in your life, right? So it's how does that even work? I know for me that was my biggest thing. I was just kind of this huge thing just happened and my entire life is different, but I have to act like it's the same thing. And it's how do you go about doing that without I don't know, feeling a type of way or whatever, because it's taboo to talk about, or it's hard to find someone to truly express your feelings to. And that's why I think that platforms like ours at Mindset Talks podcast, and I know that there's another podcast out there that is trying to bring awareness to the same thing. And, you have all of these Instagram pages and things that have quotes and things that are really nice that you can kind of turn to and look for when you are, processing these emotions. I know, sadly, I have actually seen a lot of people on my friends list have been losing people really close to them, and including parents. And I can just only imagine what they're going through, because obviously I've been through it myself, and I don't want to just be hey, I know what that feels like, let me let you know that I'm here for you to talk to and stuff. Even stuff like that for me is a little awkward, especially if they don't really know about the podcast, and I don't want to just be hey, your loved one just died, come check out my podcast and maybe there's something I can say to you that's going to help you out. No, that's not really my approach. So we really just got to find ways to push this information out there more. So that's why I ask you guys if you guys can please share our content. I know I've been a little on the slacking side lately. I've been having some health issues, so I've been a little off the grid, and I'm still trying to push through this by myself, because Amanda is still doing her own thing, and she'll be back soon enough. So I've been going through a little bit of struggle, so I do apologize if my content hasn't really been on par lately, but it's not something that I've forgotten about, because I do truly believe that this is something important. Again, there's not that many things out there, and if you think that there are, please prove me wrong, because I know when I went through this 5 years ago, I was certainly struggling, and thankfully I was able to find this like Facebook group where it was focused to losing a parent. And I remember, right after I was very active in it. And some people would kind of like message you on the side and stuff, like if your circumstances were different, because me losing my dad to cancer can be completely different to somebody who just lost theirs to, like homicide or a car accident or, another natural death by like other means that might have been more sudden, like a heart attack or something like that. And so just because you lost a parent, it's also harder to kind of find someone that can relate to, how you lost them. And so I really want to try to help build this platform to be that for people who are, who are young, like me and Amanda, and that are going through it, because I know what it feels like. And I don't know, I think it's just so important, because it's not something that happens every day in your life, and it's not something that's going to happen very frequently. So just trying to deal with all of that in addition to fitting back into the normal society, and really just like understanding your grief and learning, all these feelings and emotions and things that are going to happen to you. It's a process, man. And, you guys have heard my story, and I'm not really one to talk about it. But this podcast has truly been a blessing in disguise for me, because I was very uncomfortable talking about it, and now I'm a little more open. I do still have my random moments of just breaking down in tears when I see something. I was watching something the other day, and I don't know, I just kind of like was in my head, and I lost it for a minute. So those things will still happen to me. I just expect that's just the way my life is going to be moving forward. But these are things that you might not necessarily know if you're just going through it in the beginning of things. So please make sure that you guys reach out if you need somebody to talk to. I hope that you guys think I'm friendly enough, because I would really love to, just have that back and forth with you. Whether you need me to just listen to whatever it is that you want to say and what you're going through, I won't say a word. Sometimes it helps, especially to have somebody kind of like outside of the picture. I know for me it does, just because I feel like when I talk about things within my family, I just feel like I'm burdening people. And yes, I know that's like a personal issue that like I have to get past, or maybe I really am, I don't know. But I think for me it's a lot easier to talk to like friends or even strangers. I feel like I've told you guys this story before. I was on vacation in Florida, and I ran into this woman who, I couldn't even tell you how we started talking, but after we did, I just felt like it was meant to be. And we got into like this whole conversation about like my dad, and I like bawled my eyes out. And yes, we were having a few drinks, but for me to bawl my eyes out on like the side of like a patio, like overlooking like the water and stuff, just like having this conversation, that was a nightmare. That was probably like a year after it happened. Maybe if that, maybe within a year or right after a year, or kind of like somewhere around there. Which doesn't help is that it was also around the time of my dad's birthday, so it was already like super on my mind. And we really got into like a huge conversation about it and stuff, and we became Facebook friends off of that. And we'll like and comment on like each other's like posts and things, and it was just really nice to hear like a different person's perspective, as hard as it was in the moment. And I don't know, I feel like I kind of just got on a tangent with that whole story, but my point of that was that it can help you sometimes to just like talk to somebody that you're not really familiar with about shit, because they don't have, certain opinions, and they're just kind of like soaking in, and you don't know their personal experiences either and what they've been through. So I don't know. I find stuff like that very valuable, and I think that it's pretty cool that Grief Awareness has its own special day. So make sure that you guys spread some love to the people that you love in your lives. Let them know, because you really never know how long they're going to be here for. And, make sure that you can try to do good to somebody else. And if you know that someone's just lost someone, reach out to them. Don't be afraid to just make sure that they're okay. And if they say fine and they don't want to answer you back, whatever, cool. At least you reached out to them to let them know that you're there. So I thought that was pretty cool to kind of just touch base on this for you guys, which is a huge, huge part of the foundation for our podcast here, is